Black Spring with Autumn here on your Friday. It is approximately 8:58 in the p.m. in CST, and I imagine that it is around 9:58 in the p.m. on EST. And of course, we're going for around 7 p.m. in the PST. So we won't do Mountain Time right now, but hey, I just want to come in really quickly and just give you guys a little bit of update regarding industries and sectors of our nation that's affected by the shutdown. I do believe, what are we at, day 24? Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. This is day 24 of the historic shutdown. We got to inject that in, right? So what I'm on about is apparently TSA has missed their first full paycheck, and of course they're seeing an increase of absences as well as call-ins, and of course, according to some reports, that their management is using some strong arm tactics to deter the employees from calling out. And of course, others are asking, the union is pleading with, officials, the federal government to, stop using these employees as political pawns. In fact, some of these reports are coming in that many of the TSA agents are probably going to even be forced to take on a second job because of the shutdown and the amount of actual, the demands that they have that they're not being able to meet based on the shutdown. So, which I will say this, let me inject this for a second. I mean, I find that TSA has been quite a bit of a revolving door. Just, from what I recall, it's been a revolving door for some time. I don't know what the average amount of time that people actually stay with TSA, but it can be a revolving door. However, I'll keep going here. But yes, apparently the shutdown is still affecting the TSA agents. Also, it looks like, out of Atlanta, which ATL is what they're citing is, of course, as the world's busiest airport. And of course, the Secretary of Transportation, Buttigieg, is saying that he cannot guarantee, flights are going to be on time. He cannot guarantee that flights won't get canceled naturally. Of course, he can't guarantee that. John Roberts is here. Says, I work more than one job until I only need one job. There you go. And so, but then you also have these politicians sticking their heads in, John Ossoff and Ralph Warnock. They're sticking their heads in to try to pass a measure that would allow the federal workers to be paid. But I mean, I guess that all folded, and so they were not successful with that. So the shutdown continues, and so therefore your flights might be delayed, and they may even get canceled. But they cited maybe about 25 minutes. 25 minutes was kind of the going time for 25-minute wait times without so much disruption so far. But how long will it last? I don't think these people are going to work a whole month. I don't think people are going to work into their holiday season. I mean, we don't know what we know. They're playing a game, but how long are they going to allow it? I mean, I remember some piece that was saying that Trump allegedly was going to agree to meet with the Dems after the shutdown was over. So, I don't see an end in sight in this situation, but there again, to me, it's like they want the public map of concern to be where it is. Carolyn Lowe, remote. Hey, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in. I appreciate it. This is kind of a semi-mobile Black Spring with Autumn. Yeah, it's kind of a mobile situation right now. And yes, they do. Caroline Lowe Renmalt, RMLDT says they want everyone to panic. Okay, hi conspiracy. Hi conspiracy queen. Thank you so much for coming in. And so they need this. They need to keep on injecting fear and instability. Because of course the fear is what drives a lot of the concern, but it also says, when you have a shutdown, it also signals, okay, your government's not working, your politicians are not working, your technology is not working. Pretty much the only thing might be working is AI. And AI has not replaced, they have not fully rolled out the AI governance, which I think that's coming very shortly. That's what's being prepared all over the world right about now. But on top of that, I just don't really see, I'm not sure how soon this is going to wrap up, but I've talked about this when I ran it through my own little rhetorical exercise, my own little rhetorical x-ray machine. And I say, typically with these narratives, when it goes from abstract government problems to relatable government problems with the common man, it's typically led to the shutdowns ending, like you're on the other side of the whole arc. But at this time, I can't say that it's going to trend in that trajectory right now, because it's already past. They're citing we're on the third or the fourth shutdown in history, I guess, historically. But who knows? I mean, you have air traffic control as well as the TSA. Air traffic control is an animal in itself. It's a complex situation, and there are so many jobs and positions tied up in the DOT, and like one kink in that link, and it just seems like everything just kind of shuts down. I don't know. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I wouldn't want to go anywhere this time soon. But at the same time, all of this is reminding me of the COVID-19 era. Like, we've got everything right now but another demic. That's the only thing that's missing from this piece. That's the only thing that's missing from this narrative. For it to be a full-on deja vu cycle would be that we have another demic in the middle of it. But we don't. They talked about how flights got canceled and things were shut down in 2019. They talked about all of that. And like I said, it's just like, it just kind of rose. It all rose. You only needed to sprinkle a little rain on it. Or, I'm saying rain on it. That's my metaphor for something else. Sprinkle a little rain on it, and you've recreated the entire era of COVID-19, 2019. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, says it's exactly the same propaganda machine. Without a doubt. And I don't know. I just think they're preparing the country for this new world that this new country, this new world that they're setting up. And it will be AI, and it will be full of, that's why it's like they're doing all this. I'm not sure whether they're harvesting or are they harnessing these precious metals and these semiconductors and investing this and investing that. Let's see. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, says China's watching us freak out with popcorn in hand. Yeah. Well, and also, I talked about this yesterday. I cited yesterday that you got China, you got Korea, you got Germany, you've got a couple of other nations that are investing in these semiconductors as well as AI right about now. And the United States, they're not naming the United States, but they named those five that were the top investors in AI and no, the semiconductors and in, you know, all of that. But we'll see what happens. TSA, like I said, to me, TSA has a big turnover. It's been my own recollection. I only know a few. I've only seen a few people that have hung on with TSA. I don't know if it's a stepping stone kind of a position. I don't know what it is. Does it give you mobility within, you know, to move along, to move up? Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, says it's embarrassing. So, yeah, like I said, we'll have to wait. We'll have to hurry up and wait and see what's going to happen from this point on. But I don't see it. I think that I'm not sure what exactly they're waiting on. Or is there something else that we don't know that's going to come about? Like I said, there's only one thing left. There's only one thing left, and that's a public health crisis that would, because many of these nations are in free fall. Their economies are in free fall. I talked about the Prime Minister of Japan coming up with a 92.9, something around that number, $1 billion stimulus package to try to quell the inflation in that country. I mean, yeah. I've talked about the actual, what was it? There's another, even this morning, there's a lot of layoffs going on. Target was the one that I brought. This is a recap from this morning. Target is also going to be laying off 1,000 corporate employees, but they're also going to be closing 800 open positions. But they didn't say anything about actual store closures. So first you started out with Starbucks, and now but they're actually doing store closures and going to like rebrand themselves with new colors and, you know, different types of chairs, more comfy chairs and this kind of a bit. But their CEOs are still prospering. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, Palantir gone Palant, I guess. Folks plotting to do some really ignorant stuff if they keep this charade going. I bet Trump will swoop in at the last minute to save the thing. Well, you know, they're good at they'll take you to the edge now. I'm trying. Taking you to the edge is a part of the game. You know, they got to build it. They got to build. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't know, with, quote, the holidays coming around, allegedly the stores are feeling the squeeze. And I would imagine, like, even small businesses, you know, people that have small businesses and, you know, stocking their stores or whatnot. How are you going to stock the stores or know what to reorder for your customers? Or will you have to throw your items out because your customers are not coming in, or, you know, you've got a reduction in that. So, but I think that they're hoping that this whole TSA, ATC situation will kind of force them to make a decision, force the hand of the federal government. I just know that that's not something to play around with. You know, we need people to be paid. We need air traffic control, TSA, but especially air traffic control. Those guys need to be paid, because the job has enough dynamics and challenges of its own. But the fact that you would have these people coming in and, you know, they need to get adequate rest, and they also need to be paid for a respectable day's work. They need to be paid for their work. You show people respect by paying them for the work that they do. And when you don't do that, I can't imagine what kind of mistakes or what type of carelessness. If they're worried about their bread and butter, you know, or how they're going to make it, then they're going to be less focused and they're going to make more mistakes. So, Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, says grocery store bread and butter SNAP. Trump's got the power to release funds to SNAP with USDA. Yes, pay the soldiers and government workers. Yeah, they need to pay You cannot, the thing about it is, the most disrespectful thing, one of the most disrespectful things you can do to an employee is to work them and not pay them. But you're talking about jobs that are long hours, that, yeah, it's, the tower is a feat within itself. But you don't want to be worried about when is your first paycheck not going to come through. You don't want to deal with that. But they're putting the lives of the passengers and everyone else at risk. Those jobs they have to be done. I mean, it's one thing about it. Certain industries don't sleep. I mean, for the commercial airline industry doesn't sleep, and they need people, and the people that work for them, that work to keep those areas safe, they don't sleep a whole lot either. But I'm just saying, I just think that there's a lot of games that are being played, and the safety of people is at risk. For these grandparents that are taking care of kids that actually rely on government assistance. I'm not here to debate or to give the moral conversation about who should be doing what or what's what, but a grandparent that's taking care of 2 kids or however many kids, they don't need to deprive those grandparents of whatever assistance that they're getting, because these kids are here of no fault of their own. And if someone is taking care of them, they need to not have those means disrupted. Let's see. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT says they work in good faith. Pay them now. Okay. You have to excuse this. That's, yeah. But she says grands rely on SNAP too. They must work while being caregivers too. Yes, they do. And that's what I'm saying. It's just kind of ultimate disrespect. And this is what I'm talking about. The common man is usually when this whole situation bottoms out. But you've got the elderly, you've got grandparents, parenting, the grandparents they outsource. A lot of these younger people outsource their kids to their parents. And they need to be able to get whatever it is. And it may not even be a lot. Some of these people that are, I mean, you can shun and we can debate all day long about what should be going on. But sometimes these people aren't even getting that many food stamps. It's just enough. It might be the food stamps in some cases are more of a supplement to what they already have. It's not their sole way of feeding the kids, but it does allow them to get a few more items that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. Let's say Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT, says the governor bickers and we all suffer for the grandstanding. You're right. So, and this is what I'm saying. When it comes to hunger, the common man, the relatable government, and that, unfortunately, that's the case in which some people don't pay attention until it's it's hitting the bottom of in the pit of their stomach, that they feel, oh, now I should pay attention to what's going on. Oh, now I should, line things up. But I'm just saying, it's just, to me, the common man will always, they don't care that it's affecting the common man. They don't care. I mean, what have we got going on here? Ballroom demolitions, bailing out other nations, or just all kinds of stuff is going on right now. We have money for wars. We don't have money for the poor. We don't have money to feed people. It's beyond disgraceful. It's very much regressive and not progressive. It's not. And some people that are diehard MAGAs or whatnot, they'll never admit that that this shouldn't be the way. And I think in some cases they may have already cut, I don't know if, hang on a second. I'm not even sure if the programs like Meals on Wheels, if those programs even run anymore, and how do those programs, you know, exist without, you know, how, I mean, without their funding. I mean, I'm not sure how those are sponsored. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in and burning a whopping 20 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, so Carolyn Low RMLDT says, recommend looking into 25 meals depression era made to get through playlist on YouTube. Great ideas, very affordable. Carolyn Low RMLDT says they're federally funded too. So yeah, so I'm just thinking, the common man kind of gets lost in all of this. But I'm not sure they're actually caring about it. I'm not sure whether they want to say, oh, let's look for a bipartisan solution now. No. It's just way too much. But, I'll keep an eye on what's going on. And, of course, I'll bring you guys an update on, of course, what's going on with the shutdown. We've already dealt with call outs and sick days and getting strong armed by management. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT says MJ said it in the 90s. They don't really care about us. No, he said he did. That video. I think that particular album, he did quite a few albums that I think he was speaking to our society and to the powers. He was speaking, quote, truth to power, I think, many times. But I think a lot of that got overshadowed by, I think a lot of it got overshadowed in many cases. But we'll see what happens here. So, yeah, I covered earlier on Target and their layoffs. Target, their layoffs. And then Starbucks, of course, already had some layoffs earlier this year. That's their second layoff under their current CEO. So, yeah, it just doesn't look too good, as they say, for the home team. And I don't know. I'm just thinking that by the end of the year, we might all better start stocking up and just making sure that we're going an extra mile to be prepared for whatever might come. Because we don't really know. I don't think that this economy has been represented, very factually in a long time. The Fed chair is doing what he always does. He just keeps moving the goalpost and telling you everything's fine. I remember Secretary of State. Was she Secretary of State? No. She was, basically saying that things weren't. What are you talking about? Everything's fine. That's Janet Yellen. So, and then you just keep going. It's like these people all are parroting the same talking points, denying that anything's going on. Just a complete peak gaslighting is what we're going through. It should be, we're heavy on the gaslight is what we are. Heavy. Carolyn Lowe, RMLDT. Facts, whatever happens, God got us, girl. Well, that's it. That's all we have. So, yeah, well, you guys hang in there, and I'll get back to you. I'll try to get back to you much earlier tomorrow. But definitely on Sunday, I believe, for sure. I just wanted to come to you guys and, let me know what you think in the comment section if you're hearing or playing this in a replay. If you get an opportunity to hit the like button, if you're a voyeur, if you are a ghost supporter of this channel, what's it worth? Why listen? If it's worth a listen, it's worth a thumbs up, in my humble opinion. If it's not worth listening to, walk away right now and don't worry about a thumbs up. But if it is, hit the thumbs up and keep it going. Because here again, it does help, it does help the channel. So I just figure if it's not worth your time, then don't waste it. And don't waste the like. Don't waste it. Caroline Lowe, RMLGT says, okay, right on. Stay safe. Sub up. Hit the like button. I appreciate that, Caroline Lowe. I appreciate it. Okay, guys. So I will see you later for sure. And we'll get into some things, get into other things later. Okay. Bye for now.